Do you want to become a millionaire by doing the work that you love? Now, I know that might sound like a silly question, but it's my promise in this episode. I want to share with you the 3 most common mistakes I see so many online entrepreneurs, coaches, experts, consultants that are making today that are stopping them from being able to hit the $1 million plus mark. It's the upper hand that I now have that I want to be able to share with you. Since selling my company recently, I now am in the very fortunate position of being behind the scenes of so many coaching consultants and being able to see how their businesses are running. And I just reviewed my notes from dozens and dozens and dozens of conversations of all of these breaking down into these companies that are simply being stuck. They want to be able to grow and they're not sure why, because they are simply working hard, doing everything right, but they're not getting the results that they really want. And then when I distilled everything down, there were these 3 common mistakes that I want you to be able to avoid. And I want to thank, especially before we jump into this, Sharon, a mentor, partner, and a great friend of mine, because I wasn't going to be talking publicly about what I do with my partners, but he said I was doing a real disservice when it comes to me not sharing this stuff. So Sharon, thank you. And here we go. You can thank him for me being able to share this with you. The first most common mistake that I see is simply that you have the wrong model. You have the wrong economic blueprint behind what it is that you're trying to build your business to get to where it is that you want to be able to go. Now, really recently, I had a call with a really great coach in the health and fitness space, and they were selling challenges, and they were selling something around $147 per person per challenge. And they had the income goal that they wanted to hit. They wanted to earn over $500,000 a year. And the exact number was actually $588,000 a year. And they were running 4 challenges a year. And at the $147 mark per registration, they had to sign on 1,000 registrants, 1,000 sales per event. So that's 4,000 sales that they had to make for them to be able to hit their $588,000 of sales per year. Now, this isn't even going to the $1 million mark that I put this premise and this promise of this episode on, but this is a perfect example because they were struggling so much for 2 reasons, which I want to dissect right now, but they were struggling so much with them trying to get those 1,000 sales in each event for them to be able to run. Now, the couple of reasons why they were struggling, what we kind of really dissected this down into. And the first one was what they were actually delivering wasn't actually the work that they wanted to do. They had in their head from other people giving them advice that they took on, wrongly assumed that they should be running challenges to be able to have a successful business, and kind of doing it in these cohorts, doing it in these groups, and doing it 4 times a year. Now, the problem was they didn't want to. She didn't want to actually deliver in that style. She wanted to give a more personalized, individualized, bespoke actual solution to the client. And so what I did was, in that conversation, we paused for a second, we stepped back, and this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to think about, from your perfect ideal client's perspective, what is the absolute best solution that they need to be able to get to where they want to go? How do you give them that absolute best solution? So then what we did is we connected these 2 dots together to be able to solve her problem so easily. Number 1, the work that she wanted to do, she wanted to have that more personalized, high value, higher touch point, more bespoke way of actually delivering to her clients, doing the work that she really loved. But then now doing it in a model that was able to give the client the best possible results, the fastest, easiest, cheapest way for them to get the solution. And the best way for that was more of a tailored one-on-one style of coaching that was done through a coach. So we changed the model from this kind of like 1 to infinity group challenges style to actually being able to have a coach where she managed and supported to be able to then do what's needed for the actual client. So the reason why I share this with you is actually coming from one clear question for you to be able to answer. How do you best serve your client? And then reverse engineering the steps so that you're able to create the processes, the automations, the systems, essentially the organism that is your business that actually delivers that to your clients. The second big mistake is the actual plan that you have is flawed. And this is where the tactics and strategies that you're trying to use to essentially be able to get leads, get prospects, turn prospects into clients and make sales is actually not right, or essentially, or more nuanced, It's not right for you right now. So it was literally yesterday, I had a conversation with the business owner of a supplement company. And the problem was that they had in their head that how they were going to drive traffic, how they were going to get leads and prospects, was that they were going to do the whole content thing. They were going to be producing YouTube videos and podcasts and doing the whole social media stuff and getting into people's DMs and all of that kind of jazz. That's what they were told that they needed to do to be able to build their supplement business. But again, when we took a step back and we looked at, well, hang on, what is it that you want to be doing? What is it that is your zone of genius? Then how do you actually put together what is your zone of genius along with what is actually most effective to connect with your marketplace? We found a much better solution. He was much more wanting to be behind the scenes, and he also had the connections, the network to be able to get influencers, people that already had audiences, be able to drive their traffic over to what it is that he's selling. So then I come back to the Charlie Munger quote, show me the incentives and I'll show you the result. Which for me, I then sat and goes, well, what's the incentive for your partners, for your affiliates, for your ambassadors to be so incentivized that they want to drive traffic to what it is that you have to be able to sell your product? And again, we were able to make that match. So in this example, it was a case of someone that was thinking that they needed to do one thing over here to be able to get eyeballs to drive traffic, but it was actually a completely different solution for what actually best matched him in his place with his zone of genius, with the assets that he already had to be able to create a system that is now already producing results. Now, another example that I just see really prevalent today when it comes to this, and I understand why, because I made this mistake so much as well, but is simply you copying, you mimicking somebody else's model for how it is that they're running their business. You might not even know their exact numbers. You don't even know behind the scenes of what's going on, because I see this so much. Some people see influencers go, oh, that dude, that lady, they're killing it. They're doing so well. And therefore they try to mimic, they try to copy how it is that their ads look, the copy that they're creating in their marketing messages, the strategies they're using, their funnels and blah, 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 all of that other stuff. And essentially what happens is they start to build their model. They're trying to use the tactics and strategies, but not truly understanding the overall reasoning why they're getting used as well. And the biggest problem that happens is when you try to start mimicking somebody else, but it's not based on the actual fundamentals of knowing why it is that you're doing it and is it actually aligned with what it is that you can best produce, you're just going to be a second place to that person. And most likely you're going to be a second place that loses severely against them as well. Now, there's obviously nuance to this where you want to be able to use examples, you want to be able to see other people's and other people's models. You need to be able to use some critical, smart thinking to distill down what is it that is actually going to best suit you so that you have the correct tactics and strategies aligned for how you're going to attract an audience, how you're going to convert and make sales, how you're going to then deliver a world-class experience and results to your clients and customers. And then finally, there is the third biggest mistake. And you might think that you're not in this category, but I think a lot of people fall into this category that think that as well. And that is simply going to be a case of you're not following the plan with the intensity and the duration that is needed to get the actual results. You might have the right economic blueprint, you might have the right tactics and strategies, but you just haven't done it with enough intensity and duration for it to yield the results that you really want. Now, for me, the word foolishness means that you know what it is that you need to do, but you lack the strength of character to be able to do it. And this is where this comes into play. You know that you should be doing it. You know that you should be following the plan, but you're just simply not following through with it. You're being foolish at the end of the day. And there's two common ways that you can start to pick up on this. And that is, number one, are you tracking your key performance indicators? Are you tracking your KPIs, the real data showing of what it is that's going on? Do you know how many conversations are happening? How many leads are coming through? How many actual appointments are happening? How many people are getting sold? What is the lifetime value of each customer and client? So on and so forth. They are the KPIs. But secondly, and this is where a lot of business owners kind of start to shy away from, and this is, are you tracking what I call KPAs, key performance actions? And that is going to be the case of, do you know on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis what you need to be doing in the output of what it is that you need to be doing to ensure that you're going to get the results. Now, you might be going to the gym every single day, but if you go into the gym and you train with the intensity of a butterfly fart and you do only 2 sets and then you walk out of the gym, likely that you're not going to get the results. You might be going to the gym every single day, but you lack the intensity and you lack the duration. And then there's the actual overall duration of, have you actually been following the plan for long enough? Don't come to me and say that you've been doing something for like 30 days, 90 days, and it hasn't gotten the results. You don't have $1 million business after you've been following someone's plan for a couple months. It takes time. Enjoy the process, embrace the game of what we're doing as well, and understand that when you are tracking the key things like the actions and the actual indicators, the data of what is happening, you start to get a really good grasp of momentum. And when you start to see that momentum, you can also start to see a really key aspect, and that is, are you doing what you need to be doing, and are you self-parenting yourself? Because you should not have to rely on someone else telling you, oh, actually, you know what, Chris, you're not doing this. You need to be able to do this. You need to be able to do more of it. You need to be able to do it better, so on and so forth. You're going to be a much more successful, you're going to achieve much faster when you're able to have the self-awareness to self-parent yourself through that process as well. And that's why I think it's really important. Number one, ensuring that you have the right economic blueprint, you have the right model of what it is that you're actually doing to grow your business. Number two, do you actually have the right tactics and strategies in place, the right plan for what it is that you need to do? And then number three, are you actually following through with the plan, with the intensity, with the duration to be able to get the results as well? And I really want you to be able to take this. I want you to be able to use what I've shared with you in this episode, and I want you to be able to apply it to yourself. I want you to be able to know, be like, yes, you need to put some forethought into it. Don't just listen to this and skip to the next episode of something else, because then you're not going to get the value out of this. What really makes this valuable right here is you now sitting down and applying it, putting some thinking to yourself, and being able to ensure that you're taking some small steps away from this. So as always, I appreciate you so much for being here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next episode.